Why people buy things they don't need. The real reason Americans can't stop buying stuff. You ever open your closet and find something still in the box, tags on, never used, and think, why did I even buy that? Maybe it was a blender you used twice. An exercise bike that's basically an expensive clothes hanger now. Or that gadget you saw on Instagram at 11 p.m. that seemed absolutely essential in the moment. Here's the wild part. You're not alone. Americans spend over $18,000 a year on non-essential purchases on average. That's not a judgment. That's just our brains doing what our brains do. So today, we're going deep on the psychology, the neuroscience, and the billion-dollar industry designed to make you open your wallet. By the end of this video, you're either going to understand yourself a whole lot better, or you're going to have a very complicated relationship with your Amazon cart. Let's get into it. Pushpin Section 1. The dopamine loop. Let's start with your brain. When you see something you want, let's say a new pair of Jordans or a fancy kitchen gadget, your brain releases dopamine. Now, most people think dopamine is the pleasure chemical, but scientists have figured out something more interesting. Dopamine isn't really about having something. It's about wanting it, the anticipation, the scroll, the add to cart. That's where the hit happens. Here's the kicker. Once you actually get the thing, the dopamine drops fast. That's why unboxing a package feels amazing for about 45 seconds, and then it's just a thing on your shelf. This is called the hedonic treadmill, a concept from psychology that basically says, no matter what you buy, you adapt to it quickly and return to your emotional baseline. The high fades, so your brain starts looking for the next hit. Amazon, TikTok Shop, Instagram, they are all designed around this loop. Infinite scroll equals infinite dopamine drips. It's not an accident, it's the product. Pushpin Section 2. Emotional buying. What are you really buying? Here's something nobody talks about. Most of the time, we're not actually buying products. We're buying feelings. Think about it. You buy self-help books, you're buying the feeling of becoming a better version of yourself. Whether you read them is secondary. You buy gym gear, you're buying the identity of someone who works out. You buy a luxury item, you're buying status, confidence, a sense of arrival. You buy comfort food or a random Amazon purchase at midnight. You're often buying emotional relief from stress, boredom, or loneliness. Psychologists call this retail therapy, and it's real. Studies show that shopping, even just browsing, can temporarily reduce feelings of sadness and give people a sense of control over their lives. When life feels chaotic, spending money is one of the fastest ways to feel like you're in charge of something. And retailers know this. That's why you'll see ads targeting you right after a rough news cycle. Section 3. The scarcity trick and FOMO. Now let's talk about one of the most powerful psychological weapons in marketing, scarcity. Only 3 left in stock. Sale ends in 1459. Limited edition. Won't be restocked. Your rational brain knows this might be fake. Your emotional brain doesn't care. It kicks into survival mode. This is rooted in loss aversion, a concept made famous by behavioral economists Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky. The research shows that the pain of losing something is about twice as powerful as the pleasure of gaining the same thing. So when you see only 2 left, you're not just thinking about wanting it, you're thinking about losing it. That's a completely different emotional experience, and it's way more motivating. Add FOMO, fear of missing out, and you've got a perfect storm. Social media makes it worse because now you're not just missing a deal. You're watching other people enjoy the thing you don't have, in real time, on your phone, all day. The result? Purchases that felt urgent at 7 p.m. feel completely pointless by 7 a.m. Pushpin Section 4. The identity purchase. Here's one of the deepest reasons we buy things we don't need, and it might be the most human one of all. We buy things to tell a story about who we are, or who we want to be. Researchers call this symbolic self-completion. When we feel like we're lacking in some area of our identity, we try to fill that gap with stuff. Someone who wants to be seen as sophisticated buys expensive wine they can barely taste the difference in. A dad who wants to be the cool, outdoorsy dad buys camping gear for a trip that never happens. A college student who wants to be creative buys art supplies they never open. These aren't bad purchases, necessarily. They're aspirational. They represent the person we're working toward. The problem is that buying the symbol doesn't actually build the identity. You have to do the thing. And brands have gotten incredibly good at selling identities, not just products. You're not buying a Patagonia vest, you're buying environmentally conscious professionalism. You're not buying Yeezy sneakers, you're buying cultural relevance. You're not buying a Stanley Cup, you're buying belonging to a tribe. The product is almost. Section 5. The system is designed this way. Now here's where I want to be real with you for a second, because it's easy to watch a video like this and feel bad about yourself for impulse buying. But I want to push back on that. You are not weak. You are not irresponsible. You are a human being up against a multi-trillion-dollar industry that employs the world's best psychologists, data scientists, and behavioral economists, all working full-time to figure out how to get you to click buy. Here's what they use: personalization algorithms. Your phone knows more about your spending triggers than you do. It knows what time of day you're most likely to buy, what emotional states lead to purchases, what colors and words make you convert. Influencer culture, parasocial relationships make you trust creators like friends. When your favorite YouTuber says, "I literally use this every day," your guard drops in a way it never would for a traditional ad. One-click purchasing. Amazon's Buy Now button eliminated the natural pause where you'd normally talk yourself out of something. Friction was the only thing standing between you and an unnecessary purchase. They removed it on purpose. Haul culture and unboxing. These aren't just fun videos. They normalize the idea that buying lots of things is exciting and aspirational. They make consumption look like a hobby. The system is designed to turn your emotional moments into revenue. Knowing that doesn't make you immune, but it does give you a fighting chance. Pushpin Section 6. What you can actually do. Okay, so now that we've laid all this out, what do you actually do with it? I'm not here to tell you to stop buying things. That's not realistic, and honestly, buying things isn't inherently bad. But here are a few mindset shifts that genuinely work. 1. Name the feeling before you buy. Before you check out, pause and ask, what am I feeling right now? Bored? Stressed? Insecure? If the answer is an emotion, not a need, that's information. You don't have to stop the purchase, but knowing why you're doing it is powerful. 2. Use the 24-hour rule. For anything non-essential over $30, wait 24 hours. You'll be shocked how many must-haves become meh overnight once the dopamine spike fades. 3. Unsubscribe from triggers. That store's email list. That influencer whose hauls make you feel like you need everything. Those late-night TikTok spirals. Reduce the input and you reduce the impulse. 4. Buy experiences over things. Research consistently shows that experiences make us happier, longer, than material purchases. A weekend trip or a cooking class will outlast the memory of almost any product you buy. 5. Know your identity gaps. If you keep buying gear for hobbies you never actually do, ask yourself why. Are you buying the activity or the identity? Sometimes that question leads somewhere really useful. Here's the thing, understanding why you buy stuff isn't about guilt. It's about agency. When you know your dopamine loops, your emotional triggers, your identity purchases, you're no longer just reacting. You're making actual choices. And that's a completely different feeling than opening a package 2 weeks later and going, why did I buy this? The fact that you watched a 10-minute video about consumer psychology tells me you're someone who actually thinks about this stuff. That's already more self-awareness than most. So next time you're hovering over the Buy Now button, maybe just pause for a second. Ask yourself, is this really about the thing? Or is it about something else? And hey, if you still buy it after that, no shame. At least now you know. If this video made you think, hit that like button. It actually helps more people find this content. And if you want more deep dives on psychology, money, and the systems that shape how we think, subscribe.